And we are live. Welcome on your TVs in Texas and Louisiana. We are on the Smart Money Culture TV network, as well as joining from around the world on X, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and the rest. It's very nice to see everybody. I hope you had a nice long weekend. We had a long weekend here in the U.S. It was really nice. Nice to be with the family and see some friends and do all those things that you do on a holiday. And hats off and thank you to our veterans and those people who have fought to keep this country doing good things, trying to keep the country doing good things, and their sacrifices. So we have an exciting show today. Of course, we will be at Consensus. We're at Consensus on location tomorrow. David, my brother David, and I are both en route, basically in motion. David is coming all the way from Portugal, and we will be on location. We're going to be reporting. We'll be doing our famous gala. This light is being funny today. All right, there we go. On the 30th, and we are very, very much looking forward to it. You can see in the post, at least on X, I said all the intelligence agencies are going to be there. All the U.S. agencies, period, are going to be there. It will be. It's going to be pretty interesting event. This is the first time. Usually, I think probably they have all the agencies there anyway. But this is the first time, front and center. They'll have. We have the U.S. House is there. You have the U.S. Senate there. You have the U.S. Treasury, the Commodities and Exchange Commission. You have, all of these different agencies that are there. Crypto is big time. This is what I said. I've been saying for a while now. The fact of the matter is that the monetary revolution. We have a monetary revolution going on not only in this country, but in the world. We have a monetary revolution that is going on, and you had best pay attention. It's not financial advice and all that good stuff, but you had best pay attention because it is happening, and you have your dollars, as I'm sure you've noticed, being diluted a lot. It's a lot. The inflation is a lot. It's a lot. Now, I have gone back and forth. I've almost, as we've been doing this show, I've almost changed my position has matured. My position has matured into realizing that they have a lot of control over, and that's the Fed, the central bank, over the money supply and making sure that dollar is supported, even if it means by taking the value from you, which is actually how they do it. But they have the total ability to do that. And so if you can tax people on whatever you want, whenever you want, how do you go bust? It's kind of hard, right? So a couple of things you can do. Of course, you can get in gold, silver, platinum, palladium. You can get in crypto. A lot of people are scared of crypto, and I get it. But if you go to atcosmetals.com, use referral link clubs with an S. You can buy gold, palladium, platinum, silver. Atcos silver is up 4% today. Silver is when we started talking about silver at the beginning of when we started doing this show, silver was under $20. It was right around $20. It's over $30 now. So big jump. Gold as well has appreciated, but the fact of the matter is that it has not kept pace with silver. I expect that to continue. Silver has been kept. The price of silver has been kept low for a long time using paper derivatives. We can talk more about that at another time. Bitcoin as well is moving up. I think that's going to continue. And as Matt and I spoke about yesterday, this incoming alt season, I think, is going to melt faces, as they say. I think it's going to melt faces, and we're starting to see some of that. But you go to atcosmetals.com, use referral club code clubs. So I reached out to Jenner. I reached out to Caitlin, formerly known as Bruce, right? Jenner. I don't know if he saw or not. But I was like, because I bought a bag of Jenner yesterday when it dipped. So Bruce or Caitlyn Jenner launched his Jenner coin, and I mean, hey, this person is a winner, right? I mean, lots of winning. And so I went over and I actually was funny. I tried to get a bigger bag, or I tried to get when it was a little higher, and then when it dipped, I went ahead and got a nice bag. So I'm pretty happy right now on that. I think at a $20 million market cap or whatever it's right now, Caitlyn Jenner is not going to let that token do anything less than 100 million. I mean, that's just my opinion, not financial advice and all that stuff. I did reach out to get him on the show and hopefully be a consensus. I'd love him to come to our gala. I don't think he's going to be a consensus. He hasn't said anything. He's all over X talking about it though. So you might want to check that one out, Jenner. Make sure you have the right one now. Maybe I'll post a link or just follow his account there on X, and you'll get to the right one. But look, guys, it's at I think it's right before the show anyway. It was at a $20 million market cap. You go to 100 million, that's 5x. Hey, I'll take a 5x. I mean, hey, that's and that's just okay. And so, in my opinion, you shouldn't be scared of that. And don't put in more than you can lose. All right, but you want to throw 5,000 at it or something easy, okay? And then do it. If it goes 5x, then you got 25 grand right there. So, and it could do more. It could do a lot more than that. 100 million for these types of tokens is really not much. So, anyway, I don't want to dive into it too much. It'll be great to hear what Matt has to say about it. Of course, I think sometimes Matt laughs at my meme token plays, but that's okay. Good stuff. Okay, let's see here. Trump is back in court. Unfortunately, right? He is back in court. Trump's back in court. They have final arguments for his New York City case, this so-called hush money case, right? The hush money case. So that is going on, and then as well, they have. Let's see here. Does this not work? Yeah, it's working. So the whole lawfare on him continues as he does that, right? And then we have just going here to okay, so this is sorry guys, I'm just looking at my stuff here. All right, well, I didn't do that right. Okay, so it's live. Of course, I'm trying to do more information on my tweets, but I already sent that out across. So I had myself, here we go, my thing. All right. The Washington Elite Gala is on May 30th. You can get your tickets to that. Okay, you can still get your tickets to Consensus as well. I posted it below. I posted the links below. You should get your tickets if you want to come. I think you should come. If you're able to come, you should come. This is where it is all happening. There's going to be everybody, all the important people will be there. And so I do think that if you can come, you should come. It's going to be a fantastic event. You get 15% off your ticket right there. Take advantage of that. Then as well, if you are there, you should come to the Washington Elite Gala. The Washington Elite Gala is going to be absolutely fantastic. Let me just put up a couple of my tickers here. I'm leaving DC in a few minutes. Consensus 15% discount code is Bruce. You must follow the link to work. I did post the link below. And so that code is Bruce, but you can, or above, depending on where you are. If you're watching on TV, go over to my X account at Networks Manager, because you have to follow the link for it to work. And you can also get that on YouTube, on Crypto Cake YouTube, and also my LinkedIn, easy to find on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/Bruce Porter, but easy to find. Just Google search away. Now you can go directly to this link lu.ma/Washington Elite Gala. That is the Washington Elite Gala, our famous gala that we throw around the world. Really excited about it. This will be at the JW Marriott. They've been absolutely fantastic to work with. Hats off to that team. It's one reason why I picked them. I decided that it's always good to work with very professional people. The JW has an excellent reputation. Really excited about that dinner. We have some amazing people coming to the dinner, let me tell you. And then as well, we have my friend Felipe Lopez, who is going to do a piece of art live. He'll do a piece of art live as we're there. So that's going to be pretty interesting. We're going to sell that piece as well. We have historically sold a lot of different art at our events. I've had some events where we made more money, actually quite a few of them, where we made more money selling the art than anything else. And of course, the proceeds go to a great cause. So that goes to our initiatives in the disabled sports. So that's going to be great. Make sure if you're there, sign up. I doubt very seriously that there will still be a couple more, few more maybe that we approve for the free. But if you want to come, go ahead and get a ticket. And because get one of those VIP tickets that you pay for, whether you get a seat for yourself or a table, you're going to want to do that because I cannot guarantee that you will be able to get into the gala. Otherwise, it is a lot of people. We've had a lot of interest, definitely more interest than we've ever had, and that is going to be pretty awesome. So we're super excited about it. So I will be there this evening. David will be there tomorrow. David's flying all the way from Portugal, and that is a long trip. There was no easy trip, so he's in it to win it. It's also pretty interesting, and this is what I talk about as well, guys, with the monetary revolution and getting involved, diversifying your U.S. dollars. The U.S. dollar is, they say, a debt instrument. It's a debt instrument. It's also a tax instrument. As long as you're holding your U.S. dollars, they can tax them. So, imagine, holding a Bitcoin, okay? And why would you hold a Bitcoin if they could tax that Bitcoin anytime they wanted? And they did. So every time Congress passes one of these like $100 billion bills, that cost the average family about $2,000. Okay, and they take that from inflation, and that's how they tax. So they tax the U.S. dollars by diluting them. And so maybe the easy way for people to think about it is that, or if you had gold, why would you buy gold if while you were holding it, they could just take some of it all the time, right? So that's what they do with the U.S. dollar. Or maybe Bitcoin's easier to understand because people don't understand that anyway. So why would you hold Bitcoin if every time you turned around, every time these guys in Congress who are just drunk on printing money, why would you hold Bitcoin if every time you turned around, they could just take a little bit more of it? And think about that. So that's what holding U.S. dollars does. If you hold U.S. dollars, it's a tax instrument. I think people start to get that it's a debt instrument. Every $100 bill has $3, basically, almost approximately, attached of debt that you owe the central bank. Every $100 that's printed, it's just paper, remember, it's printed. They charge 3% of that, approximately. And then, as long as you're holding it, they can take more and more and more percent. As people are starting to figure it out. And that's why at Consensus in Austin this year, we have everybody. We have everybody there. Everybody's there. So we have some amazing interviews lined up. You know how we do those. We'll probably do them, and then we'll play them as the weeks go on. We'll do some live shows from Consensus as well. It'll be earlier for me. We're on TV in Texas at 5 a.m. So when the people that watch us, and then we rerun it, of course, at 12 noon or 11 a.m. to 12. But in general, I am not on, or I'm in DC, so it's at 1 hour. But of course, it'll be at the same time. So anyway, I'll be busier than a one-armed coat on a hanger, as they like to say. Let's talk markets. Let's bring on the great Matt Dixon. Sir Matt. No, wrong button. Here he is. Matt, how are you?
Great, thank you. Good morning. So the
It's
big
good.
news of the day,
Tell us.
today is that Bruce has bought Coin, yeah?
Yay! And I'm
At
already
the time that you
up.
were talking,
I'm
at the
already up
time that you were
1x.
talking
I'm
on the
already up over
show,
100%.
I was actually watching, just even time you were talking on this show, it's gone up an additional 5%.
Of course,
Just,
we're talking about it.
yeah. So I was actually looking at it this morning before this show came on. So yeah, these meme coins, quite amazing, the potential.
Well, I mean, the guy, I'm looking at it because, well, it's funny because I missed The Secret. Did you see that one? So The Secret launched their token, and my brother James is my other brother who you haven't met before. He actually is the one who introduced me to Bitcoin, and that was when it was like 50 cents, right? And then I looked again, it was $50, right? So that was him. So he sent over the Secret one, and I looked at it. I said, oh, okay, I was busy, whatever, and it went up 1,000%.
Wow.
I thought, oh my gosh, you throw $5,000 at that, and that's life changing. And so when Jenner came up, I'm still busy, and I'm looking at it, and of course whatever, and I went in. It's going to go to 100 million. I feel like, not financial advice, all this stuff. I feel like there's no way that Caitlyn Jenner does not pump that thing to 100 million, and that's
So
fine.
at the moment, market cap is, I think you said, 22 million. Volume, 24-hour volume is 120 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's really, really pumping. Just come down a little bit. I mean, but yeah, overall, it's flying.
And he's on X talking about it and stuff, and that's he's like, I'm all in. Last night, he's like, I'm all in. I was telling my brothers, I was like, I should buy more. I should go all in.
So big news today is obviously Mt. Gox, the movement of some Bitcoin across those wallets overnight. It was I've read somewhere in the region of $7 to $8 billion worth of Bitcoin moved from that old Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox was that old exchange, and it handled 70% of Bitcoin transactions up until the collapse in 2014. So there's, there's still ongoing litigation and so on there, but they're trying to release money. And as I say, so a lot of money moved hands. But it's quite important just to try and put it into context, because we're talking there, it's a lot of money, $7-8 billion. There's been reports between $5 to $8 billion. So let's just say the main reports I've seen $7 billion. But what's actually come in, what net amount has come into ETFs so far? There's actually 1,000, is it 1,000? It's not 1,000 Bitcoin. How many thousand Bitcoin is it? It's actually 10 times that amount. Anyway, it's 70 billion has come into the ETF so far.
Wow.
70 billion. I'm just going to check out the exact number. So it's 1 million Bitcoin. So yeah, 70 billion, almost 70 billion dollars has come into the ETF so far. And then of course, also in the news, we've got Argentina now talking with El Salvador about harnessing Bitcoin to really integrate cryptocurrency into their economic framework. So there's all these massive positives now happening that are going to propel the Bitcoin price higher, and Ethereum price as well, as that's now approved. So as I mentioned yesterday, this is a bit of a concern for ordinary people with those big cryptos, because it's now getting controlled by the big institutions. So our little bits and pieces that we can buy and sell, the price can be manipulated by these big moves. I mean, those ETFs holding a massive amount. Hopefully, the ETFs won't move, Bitcoin won't move a lot there, but it's still centralized. The actual holdings of Bitcoin is centralized within the big institutions. So they will have undue control on the price of Bitcoin, as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah,
we'll take a look at how things moved overnight. So obviously we had a bit of a sell-off because it was a bit of a shock to the market, to most of the market, about this move in Bitcoin. So we can see there the last candle we got, this is daily, was the red candle down. It's already recovering quite rapidly. So I think whilst I've got it as ABC down, that's still very good possibility, or it may have completed here. But either way, it's looking corrective. And whatever they're throwing at Bitcoin right now, there's too many positives out there to hold Bitcoin back. And it does look as though it's definitely going to at least challenge the previous all-time high. If we manage to break above this resistance level here, shown by the dotted lines, we're going much higher. So right now, it's never a good time to short. I mean, shorting is extremely dangerous anyway. It's never a good time to short cryptocurrency. You've got potentially infinite losses as the price can go up by effectively, theoretically, an infinite amount. So shorting is extremely dangerous, but these pullbacks may be just an opportunity to DCA and potentially buy a little bit more, increase your holdings, obviously within reason, part of a balanced portfolio and all that. But Bitcoin is looking really bullish there. As I say, even if we get a bit more of a pullback, it's looking bullish. And the same for across. I mean, Ethereum look at that. Ethereum has really been rallying nicely. Again, it's amazing how we put these chart patterns in advance of the moves. Yep. And the price did track down to precisely that spike. Price jumped down there, and then we're moving up rapidly as the arrow expected before it happened. And so we are moving up. Then I do expect we'll get a bit of a pullback. So I think we're going to challenge on Bitcoin, probably challenge the previous all-time high before we get a bit of a pullback. And then we rally ahead, probably to new all-time highs. But as we said yesterday, we've got news coming out, GDP figures coming out next. So a lot will hang on those GDP figures, depending on whether we miss expectations to the upside or downside, or whether we possibly even meet expectations. But if we get strong GDP, it means the American economy is still booming, and it means inflation is probably still going to be a major problem. And so that will probably be bad for risk assets. So converse thinking kind of thing, if you get a good GDP, it's actually going to probably damage the S&P 500, Bitcoin, other crypto, risk assets in general. Prices will be hit short term, but long term, everyone wants a healthy economy. So it just depends how healthy and how high inflation is. So inflation, the measure for inflation will come out next week, and that's PCE, the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. And that'll be the real one to watch. I think that will have more importance than the GDP figures that are coming out. So we need to watch for those PCE figures and just see where we are with inflation, because then next month we're going to be getting another rate decision. So will they hold rates yet again? Will they lower rates? Will they even higher rates? I think a lot depends on what happens with inflation, what the inflation figures are going to be. So just looking at gold again, we showed this yesterday, so I won't go into great detail, but it's looking as though we probably have a bit lower to test on gold before we push again to new all-time highs. So again, gold is looking really bullish. That's telling us probably inflation is still a bit of a worry. So if PC figures come out high, that will probably be good for gold, because people want to hedge against inflation, and they hedge by holding the precious metal gold. That is one of the best traditional hedges against inflation. But also Bitcoin is becoming more of a hedge, but it still has dual purpose. It's a risk asset and it's a safe haven asset. So Bitcoin is still a little bit mixed. Solana, it's powering back up nicely. So we've got a very nice looking candle here, this latest candle. So we had a really nice solid green candle there, finishing higher than the previous red candle, which was good. We did test down, but again, that was again off the back of the Mt. Gox news last night and the big movement of Bitcoin. But that seems to have been put under the rug, swept under the rug. Maybe it's not such bad news because it's been tempered with good news. The good news is Argentina talking to El Salvador. The good news is, the massive amount that's flowed into the ETFs. So in general, the weight of news, the net weight of news is positive, and that's why we are seeing positive moves. So I do think we're going to see quite a bit higher. I did actually buy yesterday. I bought Solana, and it's bought quite nicely since then. I bought it 165. It's 169 right now. So I'm positive. I'm reasonably bullish. And again, I don't put everything. Don't put all your eggs into one basket, but a bit of DCAing here and there if you get pullbacks. Like last night, was a good little DCA opportunity for
Yep.
Bitcoin. When we saw that pullback, a bit of a pullback, again, you don't wait for your absolute final target to the downside, otherwise you may never even pick up extra asset. So you buy a little bit as prices coming down, a little bit here, a little bit there. So you're not all overexposed, and you don't put all your eggs in one basket, as I keep saying, but you keep dollar cost averaging as prices dip. And if price continues to dip, there's more opportunity to dollar cost average. So jump into oil here. So oil's looking, again, we did reasonably well. We tested below this support, and I told you about this support a long time ago. We tested twice below, but price has not managed to hold below. On a daily closing, price has not managed to stay below this support. So oil is positive. That's telling us that the economy is still reasonably robust. Demand is still reasonably robust. Gold is also correlated with oil. So that gold thing that we're saying gold's going to go higher. So right now, that's reasonably supportive for oil and for gold. And this is, quite a solid 3 green candles there. Looking, this appears to be corrective to the downside, or we've got 7 waves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 waves to the downside. Now, 7 waves is corrective. 5 waves is impulsive. So if we stopped here and moved higher, that would have been impulsive, so we'd just get a correction higher then further down. But we actually got 7 waves down, which is corrective. So I do now fully expect that we're going to get a further extension on oil, which may tell us that either the economy is going to be buzzing, going nicely and strongly, so we get good, strong GDP figures, maybe that'll push oil higher, or we could get some more geopolitical issues. And again, I don't think Bruce mentioned today, I didn't hear the start of the show, but I know Israel are pushing into Rafah again, and there's a lot of international community not happy about it, and maybe there'll be some geopolitical spillover from that, who knows. So we need to keep an eye on these events. But Bruce was saying yesterday, dollar falling, and here we see dollar falling. So again, we need to listen to what Bruce says. So very nice here. We expected it. That we'd basically completed the B wave to the upside, which itself was made up of a perfect A, B, C. And in fact, the C wave was exactly equal to the A wave. And that's what we love to see. That's the most common relationship between the C wave and the A wave is 100%. And I'll just show you that. Put the Fibonacci measuring tool on. I'll measure from the top of that A wave to the bottom there. That's about it. And then just transpose that. Yeah, it's absolutely precise. There's 100%, gave us the end of the C wave. So again, once you saw the A wave up, the B wave down, you could jump in there and gave us the exact top of the C wave, 100%, the most common relationship. Then price turned perfectly. You'd probably find some divergence in there. If you look carefully, I think there's a bit of divergence, telling us that price was going to fall on the dollar. And again, we had it labeled in advance, heading down in a Y wave. So we've had an ABW, then ABX higher, then ABY to downside. Once we complete that to the downside, and that should be a bit bullish crypto as we fall with the dollar. So we should start to see a turnaround in crypto after last night's bit of a sell-off. So we should see crypto turn positive as dollar falls a little bit further. But I do actually think that we'll probably see, maybe we see strong GDP coming out, which will probably strengthen dollar. And if we see that, we'll see another little dip in crypto probably. But longer term, as you can see from here, I have got a top labeled already for dollar index if the dollar rises here, and then we should fall quite a lot after that. So whilst short term, we should see a bit of positive crypto because crypto is inversely correlated to this dollar. So if dollar goes down, positive crypto. Dollar goes up, negative crypto, but then we have a big down dollar move to come. A big down dollar move to come. You can see big dollar move to the bottom of a long held parallel channel, which was drawn right from the financial crisis back in 2008, 2009. Dollar is held within that. So if we see dollar falling that amount towards the bottom of the channel, that could tell us that there's a massive rally coming on risk assets. And that would equate with what we said yesterday. Potentially, you can see this lining up here. I mean, it's probably further out than here if we looked at in scale. But potentially this is aligning with the election year when normally we see risk assets pumping quite nicely. But following the election, maybe moving at the end of the year or into 2025, I think the dollar then rebounds to the upside, and that would mean that risk assets turn around once again and probably start to turn lower after what I think will be a massive rally if we see dollar falling like this. Biggest one and great one, and I showed this yesterday on my X feed. And again, I'll just scroll out. This is one Bruce was talking a moment ago about, 1000x or whatever, and some of the amazing opportunities. Well, Bonk was one of those opportunities. It was a meme coin, but now there's solid use case behind it. But if you'd invested $10,000 with 250x, you'd have. So basically, all you needed to invest actually was $4,000 to be a millionaire. If you'd invested $4,000 at the right time in this particular token, you could now have $1 million.
And this one, we talked about it a number of times, but if you knew what you were looking at, even as this came out on CoinMarketCap, I remember talking about it on the show. They had, first of all, it was listed on CoinMarketCap like immediately. And then they had all these exchanges immediately. I mean, this was like an obvious, even though it was degen style and everything else, there was obviously very coordinated, a lot of money behind this one. So,
yeah.
you want to pay attention and know what you're looking at. It's not always like that. Things can just go viral on their own. But this one in particular, they have their stuff together. Book of memes is for everybody to understand. Book of memes.
Watch yourself with these tokens because, as you say, sentiment can change so quickly. I honestly thought this meme coin euphoria was going to burn out quicker than it has, but yet we're still seeing, we've seen Jenna coin today. We're still seeing these coins coming out and getting pumped massively. And there's sites where you can launch these memes, and that's why there's literally tens of thousands of memes being launched. People trying to make a bit of a killing.
Yep.
You go on sites like pump.fun, sites like this where you can just launch a coin in just a matter of moments. Nearly all of them will fail, but occasionally you get one, especially with a big name behind it, that does something special.
Yep.
So yeah, GameStop is still rock bottom. Look at that. That's shocking. The sell-off we got from that peak there. So again, a lot of people got hurt once again with GameStop. And it's just an example. Some people say, if you buy into 100 different tokens or memes, and if one of them pumps, but the problem is to get anything meaningful out of it, if you put $1,000 in to each one and you did 100 memes, you spent $100,000. And then one of those memes pumps, and all you're doing is making your money back if you're lucky to catch the one, because there's tens of thousands of memes come out. So it's not actually a sensible. You can't just do mud against the wall. You need to do proper, solid research, even with meme coins, and see who's behind it, whether there's any dump risk, where the tokens are held, whether the tokens are locked in the pool. There's all sorts of due diligence that you need to do. Don't just do this mud against the wall thing and buy. And here we're still looking really good on the S&P 500. I think this will be the final one that we look at. And although I've got Bitcoin halving labeled here, that obviously has nothing to do whatsoever with SPX, with the S&P 500. But funnily enough, I actually think it's a bit of a misconception, a bit of a conspiracy. Everyone thinks halving is so important, but it's so important for any asset that's correlated with it. But it doesn't have to be correlated. In an up market, Bitcoin halvings tend to correlate with the market going up. There's nothing predictive about that. So when Bitcoin halves, you can see the S&P 500 pumps, but there's no correlation between S&P 500 and Bitcoin halving, but just shows you. So we had this laid out in advance, this target just overhead, and I think that probably does align because there is correlation between assets. And again, maybe that's some explanation between the halving. So if we see S&P 500 going up, it's a risk asset, as is Bitcoin a risk asset. So we would like to see Bitcoin go up as well. And I do think that before any major potential pullback, I do think we'll see Bitcoin at least challenge that previous all-time high. Maybe it'll become a double top. That's quite possible. So we do need to be careful if we're looking at Bitcoin here. Just go back on the 4 hour. We do need to be a little bit careful that we aren't talking about a potential double top. The previous high top obviously being back here. In fact, it's a little bit further back than there even. Back here was the previous high at 73,000 something. So there's every good chance it will challenge that. But this will be an overhead resistance. It's not a good place for risk reward, apart from potentially selling the token short with a stop loss just above in case it just fires above. But also, very often, if the market makers see you have trades, and they can see trades, they can see stop loss orders. If you have a sell order in here with a stop loss just above, they can very easily, and we're talking institutions here, they can move the price. If they see that buying, a few thousand Bitcoin will pump the price enough to collect a load of stop losses, they'll do it. And if they have computer systems that work out whether it's going to be profitable for them to move the price. So even just a little bit above is a bit of a risk. So risk reward, you can't have it too tight, otherwise you just get stopped out. They'll just spike the price above temporarily. And this is why you see spikes in prices. It's very often market makers spiking the price higher very quickly. They might just put one order in higher up, one small order when the market's quiet, higher up. They'll spike the price higher, collect a whole load of stop losses, and it's easy money for them.
Because easy money.
Easy money. They can see the hand that you're playing. They're playing poker against you, and they can actually see your hand in the mirror, unfortunately. Yep. So you've got to think differently. You've got to be smarter than the big institutions that are out there, because they're the ones that hold all the cards. They're the ones that see what you're holding. So that's pretty much it for today, Bruce. Again, negative across the board, but I think it's actually looking positive because we are seeing a bit of a bounce back. And I think we see positive until we get this GDP news, and probably a bit of quietness. As you say, the markets often tread water ahead of big news. So whilst we might see markets drift a little bit higher, they're going to wait for this GDP news and see if it beats whatever expectations. So let's watch out for that news. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts, and look forward to catching up again soon, Bruce. And you're up to tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. It's going to be, I think, really, I think it's like the most important event, kind of in a long time, if not ever, really. And we've taken a fairly big role there, as a marketing partner as well, and then with our gala and everything else. So we're all in, as Caitlyn Jenner says, we're all in on consensus. And hopefully as well with the Impact Money show that we'll get some high level interviews. I mean, it would be, we would be so floored to get somebody like Hester Pierce or somebody. I mean, I don't know, it's a long shot. Maybe we need another year of experience before they feel like they have to talk to us, but those people will be there, and it's going to be really interesting what happens there, what the sentiment is. And like I said, I mean, every agency really is going to be there. The intelligence agencies are going to be there. Also, all the other regulatory agencies are going to be there. And people have been scared in the U.S., and people have been scared of the U.S. I mean, even talking to people that booked their tickets, last minute as the Ethereum ETF got approved. That was kind of a big deal because, I mean, there's still this cloud over whether it's a security or not a security. And then boom, the ETF gets approved. And I mean, I guess that's kind of out the window, right? I don't know.
I mean, it's a bit strange. The fact that it's basically, it's a proof of stake. So basically you stake your asset and you get a return based on that stake. It sounds like a security to me, but, we're not the guys. So
I'm not going to argue it, that's for sure. But by the definition that they've told us of what a security is, which I guess is very easy to change. Yeah, I would think so too. And plus, they did a funding round in the beginning, an ICO round, but they're too big. They're too big to take down, I guess. I don't know. But that's all going to be very interesting. I think a lot of there's a lot of money coming into the space. You have a lot of people, they're going to participate in digital assets through these ETFs that would have never done it before. And
I've heard there's likely to be a lot less coming to Ethereum, and there's probably a big disincentive. We did mention it a few shows ago that if you're in the ETF with Ethereum, you won't get the staking rewards. So there's a disadvantage to actually holding Ethereum within the ETF. I'm not sure how much that will matter. Maybe it's still an attractive option to hold, but actually probably why would the institutions hold Ethereum when they can hold Bitcoin?
Well, I think for the institutions, they get to now keep the staking rewards, right?
No, I don't think there's any staking involved in the. So the actual applications that were put forward, they had to remove the staking, so they don't stake them. So you don't just get the staking reward for just holding Ethereum. You have to actually stake it. And I think the actual ETFs, there's no staking facility, because I think if they had staked, I think that's the reason, by the way, they got through. If they'd left the staking in, they probably wouldn't have got through, because that is then. So the ETFs are a special case. So what I just said about being security, obviously the Ethereum within the ETFs is not a security, I guess, because they're not offering these rewards. And the problem is, the reason they're securities is if you get a reward for doing nothing, I think it's effectively is classed as a security. This is my understanding. I think I'll stand to be corrected. But if you so like stocks, basically you hold a stock, you get dividends for doing nothing. But with utilities,
US Treasury bonds or something.
Yeah, with utilities, you do tend to actually do something to get the reward. So whatever it might be. So even if it's, for example, with Binance, with BNB, they've got buy and burn. The buy and burn, I suppose that's not a good example, but you have to buy and sell to save on the commissions. So you're actually doing something to get rewarded. Whereas with the security, you don't need to do anything. You just sit there and get rewarded. So that's why I think the Ethereum ETF had the staking. There's no staking facility for the ETFs, which means that's why it's accepted. I think that's my understanding.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. So it'll be interesting to talk about that too. So yeah, and we'll be, of course, we'll be working the whole time. You know how we roll. So yeah, super excited about it.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna play an interview. One of the last ones I have here from the Government Blockchain Association event. Rick Tapia, I think he's going to be there as well. So I'll play that interview now, and then we'll.
Well, as I say, thanks for having me. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and look forward to tomorrow. Take care.
Cheers. Talk soon.
Cheers. Bye for now.
All right, so I have here loaded up. This is Rick Tapia. We got to talk with each other there at the Government Blockchain Association event. He's with Full Blockchain Law, and I do believe he is coming as well to Consensus. It's a bit of a quick interview. Let's give a listen. And we are back here at the Government Blockchain Association, the GBA signature event, the future of money, government, governance, and the law. Here at the Foreign Service Building, is that where we are?
Yeah, I think it's that. Yeah,
I think it sounds about right. Really great venue that we have here, as well as great people. I have with me here Rick Tapia. He's with Full Blockchain Law. Pretty interesting, some of the stuff you have going on. I had to bring him on here, introduce you guys to him. So tell me a little bit, Rick, about your work in the space and what brought you here to the GBA event.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, appreciate the time, Bruce, and thanks for having me on. So I mean, I've been in the blockchain space since 2016. I've wore many different hats in the space, as an attorney, entrepreneur, consultant. So I live and breathe this space. So some things that we do. So yeah, our firm, Bold Blockchain Law, is a boutique firm based out of Philadelphia that focuses exclusively on the space. So we work with blockchain-based businesses to pretty much get them through A through Z. So corporate governance, structuring, securities analysis, pretty much the entire soup to nuts. I also do some ad hoc general counsel work for a company called Digital Ascension Group that focuses on a syndicate of family offices that focuses exclusively on digital assets. And we also have a RA that we're going to be launching coming out in Q3 of this year as well that focuses exclusively on digital assets as well, and a couple of other businesses in our syndicate as well. So, and I'm also an entrepreneur myself and have my own AI legal tech company as well. So I wear many different hats in the space. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, sure. So there's a lot there. I mean, I know it's music to people's ears. The family office, that group, I feel like a lot of them, they felt like they kind of missed the boat in the early run. And so now they want to make sure that they're not missing more of it. But it's a conservative bunch overall.
Yeah.
what are you finding? How are you? What are they liking? I think that would be most interesting to our audience.
So it's a very interesting question. I think you raised a lot of points that, like you mentioned, a lot of family offices have raised to our attention. So, hey, we feel like maybe we missed the boat a little bit. We still obviously don't want to be overexposed to digital assets, but hey, where do we get started, right? And we're seeing a lot more interest now, especially as it's kind of a generational thing as well. Where we're seeing a lot more. Younger people come into positions of power within these family offices that obviously want exposure to digital assets. So we definitely walk them through that process of, hey, it's not just about Bitcoin. There's other assets and things that you can do to gain exposure and still kind of maintain, the risk thresholds that you want to stay within as well.
Sure. Well, yeah, that is super interesting. Where are you based again?
So I'm based in Indianapolis, in Indiana, and our law firm is based in Philadelphia. And some of the work that we do with the Digital Century Group is down in Texas, so not too far away from you guys.
No, not too far away. So, are you going? Is it Kentucky Derby? Is that this week or next week?
I'm not exactly sure. I'm more of an Indy 500 fan myself, so
okay.
I'll be going that into May. I'm a big Indiana Pacers fan too, so.
So Indiana is right by, or is right near. Where it's on the Kentucky Derby. That's why I was.
Definitely, yeah. So, definitely don't mind seeing some horses go around and get all fancy and dressed up. I've never been to the Derby, but I've heard great things about it and have friends and family that have gone too. So.
Well, we'll have to go. My friend used to do an event there, but it's kind of hard. Actually, DC is also a hard place to do an event, but the Kentucky Derby is hard. It was a hard place to do a blockchain event in years past. I don't know if that'll change. So, talk to me a little bit about what is your goal here?
That's a really good question. So when I think about the GB and the things that we're doing and things that Gerard has done at this event, it's a really great event. We're really focused on, from what I've understood, bringing in legislators, stakeholders in the space, attorneys, and people who are just really invested in kind of from a policy standpoint of where the space is going, right? Primarily focused here in the US, obviously, and here in DC. So I think it's really great things that, that the GBA is doing and has been doing for the space. It's vitally important that we have voices that are really willing to advocate for the space, right? Because I'm a big proponent of thoughtful legislation, right, that really balances consumer protection. And, I touched on this on my panel yesterday is, well, how does that really look like in practice? And a lot of that comes down to, working with stakeholders and businesses that are building in this space. Because if you don't at least give them a seat at the table, they're going to be willing to go sit somewhere else. And we're already seeing that. And, myself as a US-based attorney, I was born and raised in America. I don't like to see that business leave.
Yeah. Well, that's actually something we were just talking to Kyle Hopman, who's the vice chairman of the National Credit Union Administration. And that was one of the things that he was talking about. We don't want to chase off the business. And I can tell you, as someone who travels internationally a lot, we've done a lot of things out of the U.S. because it was dicey here. And a lot of times people don't want to do stuff here.
Yeah. I talk with clients, each and every day that come into my firm for a consultation. I learn about themselves, their businesses, and their dreams and their hopes, and I get really excited alongside with them, right? And then I have to kind of turn the conversation into, okay, well, here's kind of the reality of what you're looking to do. Here's the current regulatory framework here in the U.S. And the business that you're wanting to launch doesn't really fit right now. So. A lot of times I have to tell them to go offshore, and it's a difficult conversation. Some projects are still saying, hey, we're going to go forward even if we have to go outside the U.S. and great. But for some people, it is kind of a dream crusher. And, I like to look at myself as an attorney that works with startups that I want to be a dream enabler, not a dream killer, right?
Yeah. So tell me, what are some of the most fun companies or projects that you've worked with?
Yeah. So maintaining, attorney-client privilege as much as I can.
Yes, of course.
It's interesting. I know DPIN, decentralized infrastructure in the past year has kind of really been kind of the hot market, the hot buzzword. So, a lot of cool projects building in that space, which, so there are people, and these are more public companies already out there, but people are doing decentralized cell phone networks or creating ways for people to be able to decentralize different parts of infrastructure. I'd say some of the more interesting projects, you have a lot of companies that are doing things in the music world that are incorporating blockchain technology onto the platform for different artists, different people who are fans of these different artists to kind of participate in some of the things that these artists are doing on these platforms. I think really the really overarching thing that I really like about this space and what the technology can afford is it does offer a democratized way for people to participate in many different, aspects of business and technology that we really haven't seen before, right? So, a big popular one is, in some contexts, if it works from a legal standpoint, not legal advice, by the way, is, sometimes we see DAOs coming where people are like, hey, this is a membership club, and a membership club can do different things. If you hold like an NFT as an entrance to get into these clubs to do different things and participate. So there's really no shortage of use cases. I'm like I said, I'm very fascinated each and every day as I talk with people building in this space, and I hope that gets to continue.
Amazing. So you were on stage here. I know you're going to be at Consensus. What are your plans? Do you have specific plans in Austin? And then maybe what does the summer look like for you?
Yeah. So I definitely think I'll be at Consensus. I'll be traveling all around the world this summer and going to different events and really just hopefully being a small voice in the room to help advocate for the space. Both from a legal practitioner standpoint and somebody who just quite frankly just cares about the space.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
amazing.
the plan.
All right. Well, it's Rick Tapia. Do you have a social media website? How do people find you?
Yeah. So if you want to find me, I'm on LinkedIn. So under my name, Rick Tapia. And then also I'm on Twitter as well under at Romero Factor. And then of course, you can shoot me an email. You can look at my firm's name, Bull Blockchain Law, as well, and go from there.
Bull Blockchain Law, like the bull market that we want to continue.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
coming
much.
on.
Yep. Thanks.
Cheers.
All right, so there you have it, folks. We are all headed to Consensus. All the great minds in the financial space are going to be there in Austin. You can still get yourself a pass. The Pro Pass, as you can see here, is available. You have to follow the link. If you're watching on TV, you got to go to my X account or my LinkedIn or CryptoKick YouTube, and you click the link. It's referral code Bruce, but I haven't been able to make that link work unless I follow the link. So you follow that link, you can get yourself Pro Pass 15% off. You can get yourself only 5 Piranha passes left. I know we have moved some of those. So some of our people will have those Piranha passes. I'm a little jealous, I got to be honest. I want one myself. Of course, I have pretty good access. We'll be doing a lot of interviews there. It's going to be a lot of fun, as well as I'll be busier than a one-armed coat hanger, as I always say. 10 years of decentralizing the future. This was a suits. This conference was nothing but suits years ago. I remember going to it years ago and thinking to myself, who in the world are all these people? As an OG Bitcoiner myself, but you can see we have just big names. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is headlining the event. We have Kathy Woods of ARK, Chris Dixon, A16Z Crypto, Mike Novogratz. We have Anthony Pompliano with Pomp Investments, one of the crowd favorites. Sergey Nazaroff, the co-founder of Chainlink. You have Lynn Martin, the New York Stock Exchange president. I can just go down the list here. We have we have Ron Wyden, Senator Ron Wyden. We have House Majority Whip Tom Emer. We have Hester Pierce from the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission. We have Brian Nelson, Department of Treasury. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. A lot of these people, of course, you hear me on here talking about all the time, and I'll touch on that briefly. One of the things that I always say in all my shows is that we have to talk to each other, right? We have to talk to each other. Doesn't mean that we can't be mad at each other sometimes or upset with each other or push on each other, because we have to believe in what we're doing, and we got to do the right thing, right? We got to do the right thing. And if I'm confident about something, you can better believe that I'm going to push on it. And if you're confident about something, you push on it too. But the dialogue is what's important. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy doing the show. And it's why, as I traveled around the world, when they started inviting me, 7 years ago or so to start speaking around the world, I started interviewing people when I would go there. It was kind of just my way of getting to know people. Obviously, I've had a pretty good presence on X for all these years, and that was my way of getting to know everybody and having a dialogue with people that maybe I didn't agree with, but I was willing to sit down and have a dialogue with them. And that's what we need to do around the world. That's what we need to do. A lot of these wars that are going on, the wars end up finishing with dialogue. So the faster that we get to the table and talking the better. And the faster that we can have conversations with these regulators, the better. The more dialogue, the more conversations that we have, the better off we are. And that's why conferences like Consensus are so important, because they're able to have people like myself who have been in, Bitcoin since it was $70, and have helped to shape this monetary revolution, and the colliding of now the big regulators and the people that have been shaping monetary policy for a long time. And here we are, we've hit the big time. So pretty interesting. As well, of course, our event, the Washington Elite Gala, we're very proud of it. If you guys can join, we'd love to see you. Make sure to get yourself a ticket. They are at Luma /Washington Elite Gala. That's lu.ma. Signing off. See you guys in a few hours.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.